with you, Cryptidmaster! Yes, thank you, Peaches. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Cryptidmasterkd, and the terrifying creature haunting in your dreams while I'm conjuring spells in your closet. And I want to wish all my fans a happy Merry Christmas. And so with this guy. This is the Bigfoot of Christmas past, who I slain in battle. And now he's a show guy. Now, in today's episode, we will discuss the legendary Thunderbird. Now, a bird-like creature seen all around the United States, Canada, and Alaska. Now, in the audience here, is there any questions?
Yes, I'd like to know what he looks like. He, she, it, the cryptid Thunderbird.
Okay. The creature is described in two different ways, much like seen here. Bird-like with a 20-foot wingspan, about 9 feet tall, with scaly skin, with a white ring around its neck, a hooked beak, and a vulture-like head.
And what's the other one look like?
Well, the one who's seen in the southwest, mainly near the Navajo Res, is a pterodactyl-like creature, as they describe, as seen in this picture right here. Now, a lot of people are asking, where do these creatures come from? Some say that they came from a governmental experiment. But the problem with that is the tales of Thunderbirds, as they're called, have been told for centuries throughout all the tribes of the United States and Alaska. These people say they've seen Thunderbirds depicted, as you can see here, on totem poles and pictograms. So these things have been around alongside man for centuries. God knows how long. Now that we got out of the way, how about some stories?
Well, what would you like your first story to be, Kyle? I see that there's a lot of seeing him in the 1970s and the late 1900s.
Yes.
Can you tell us about the Brownsville, Texas, the Guadalupe Cante gentleman?
Yes. One night, he and his friend were delivering, he's a postman, and they were doing their job, delivering stuff. And they looked up, and up on top of a huge telephone pole was this huge winged creature. What he described as a giant bird. It had its wings out, and it was flapping them. And he was able to get a good look at this thing. He was able to see how big this thing was. It was almost as big as the telephone pole.
Was this a vulture-like or a pterodactyl-like?
mostly like a vulture.
Okay.
A fascinating thing. And as fantastic as this sounds, this is a fun fact. We know there was a vulture-like cousin in the fossil record from 10,000 years ago. It was called Argentavis magnificens, or Teratorns. And they were huge, and mostly they were related to condors. And it is possible that some of these creatures may have evolved and survived into our modern time.
So are these dangerous? Are they man-eaters? Do they attack man? Do they attack livestock?
They attack both.
Well, can you tell us about an attack?
Yes. In 1977, a young boy, what's his name?
John Walker?
John Walker was 10 years old, and he, in Western Illinois, a big place where these Thunderbirds are sighted. And he was playing hide and seek with a friend. And he was running, looking for his friend, and all of a sudden, he didn't see it, he didn't smell it, but all of a sudden, he was lifted off the ground. He looked down and he saw he was being lifted off the ground. And he looked up and he saw this huge bird, a big bird, carrying him by the sleeve of his shirt. It carried him 10 feet off the ground. And he struggled and he struggled. His mom saw the attack from the house. And finally the bird dropped him. And his mom came right outside to him. And she looked up and she saw the bird. Because we all know the bird is the mother's word. And anyway, she saw the bird try and land in a tree. But it was so overweight and huge that it couldn't land. The tree was too brittle. And it flew away. Now, she reported this incident to the police. And we all know how that might have went. They didn't really take her seriously. They thought it might have been something else. But she states for a fact that it was a giant bird that knew the word.
What's a story from Alaska?
That's an interesting story.
That was only 20 years ago.
I got 3 good stories from Alaska. One was a runner named Jenna who was running up a hill near a famous mountain, was running for a bit, and this guy came up next to her and said that a storm was coming. And she said, okay, and just continued up the hill. So the guy, who we'll call Frank, was going down the hill when all of a sudden he saw this huge giant bird flying down towards Jenna's direction. And he saw this huge thing. And according to him, he heard screaming. Actually, no, he didn't hear anything. But from that day on, Jenna was never seen again.
Oh, wow.
So did this bird actually carry her off? Or did she intentionally disappear? Who knows? Now, this other story, a young woman was doing a running out on a pathway, and she says she just got the sensible feeling that she was being followed. And she looked up, and this giant bird-like creature just flew out of the trees and began circling like it was going to attack her. And she hid behind a few trees, and the bird circled once again and then flew off. And well, she managed to get home, and she's okay. She got home and managed to get home safely.
Was this in Alaska too?
Yes.
Wow. So in Alaska, it looks more like the pterodactyl. That's where the petroglyphs come from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one man even saw one carrying a deer. So we know that these things are carnivores.
There you go.
So those are... So where are these birds coming from? Is there some part of the world that... isolated place in the world where these things live and thrive?
Did they shriek? Is there any reporting of what they sound like?
Yes.
What is that?
Like a high-pitched screech.
So you know they're coming?
Well, like I said, with the boy who got picked up, he didn't hear it. He didn't smell it. It just picked him up.
Wow. That must be terrifying.
He says even all these years later, he still has nightmares about it.
I bet. So do we have to worry about them in the United States? Where, well, you said Illinois.
Yes. 1 minute.
So Kyle, is this a cryptid?
Cryptidmasterkd.
Cryptidmasterkd. I was talking to Kyle over there in the other room. I'm sorry. Go ahead with the Thunderbird.
Well, there was... Let me tell you, too, that came from the Navajo reservation. One day, a cop was driving down... A policeman was driving down a road, and she says she heard this huge flapping noise. And this bird-like, pterodactyl-like creature flew right in front of her car. She says it looked like a pterodactyl, which is an amazing find. I mean, you guys can imagine if we found actual prehistoric creatures that had remained hidden and lived along our species for millennia. This would be the hugest find of the century. And still not yet. We've not yet found anything, not a body or anything. But there's... Yeah, so many sightings. And not just in America and Alaska, but in South America, they tell stories of scaled pterodactyl creatures that carry off men. In other parts of the world, New Guinea, they tell stories of a creature they call the... You know what? I can't remember the same name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But this would be a huge find if we actually found this Thunderbird. And until that time comes, as far as the scientific community is aware, it doesn't exist, or it's unexplained. So, we're going to wrap up this video. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a very happy day. And don't forget, hit this. Please hit the subscribe button here. Ring that little notification bell. It's going to make my holidays. Please, you know you want to, or a skinwalker is going to come and get you. You know you want to. And furthermore, soon I'll be active on TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms. But in the meantime, for now, I'm Cryptidmasterkd. And peace out.